To order for Planning Commission for March 25th, 2024. It is now 6 o'clock. Can we have roll call, please? Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
All right, at this time, we'll stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I hope everybody on the commission's had a chance to look over the minutes. Do we have any corrections? Otherwise, do we have a motion?
Motion we accept them, Chairman.
We have a motion to accept. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
Kirkley, yes. Stokes?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
All right, approval of the minutes has been done. Okay. On to old business. There isn't any, so we'll move on to number 5, which is our case number 2024-004 is a site plan review for building additions to existing structure at 6500 East Center Street on land consisting of 7.54 acres under M1 zoning being developed by Murphy & Sons, and the owner is HLMS Recycling Services, LLC. Before I turn this over to our staff, I do not see anybody representing anybody in the room. Is there anybody here for this case number? So I'm going to ask Andrew, have you heard from them, and why are we not having someone here today?
Earlier today, they asked about meeting time and sending somebody. I responded to them the usual, send at least one representative, 6 p.m., March 25th, just as I told them before. And after they asked me details, I got no response. So I do not have an answer on that. And it looks like we may have somebody.
Good evening. Are you here? Are you here for HLMS?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was getting ready to pass by that one, but you are here, so we will continue on. Can you give us your report presentation, Mr. Andrew?
Yes, sir. All right. This is case number 2024-004. This is a site plan review for building additions to the existing structure at 6500 East Center Street on land consisting of 7.54 acres under M1 zoning, being developed by Murphy & Sons and owned by HLMS Recycling Services, LLC. So here on the screen is the aerial view of the property, and you got the red lines going around the property itself there. Next slide, please. And then this is the zoomed out version of that, showing the surrounding properties. Next slide, please. So here we have the current zoning. The purpose of this slide is to show that the 6500 East Center Street location itself is M1, as well as every single property touching it on the east side of the tracks and the west side of the tracks. So this is deep within the industrial zone. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to run through the overall requirements for building permits. We just feel that it's necessary to go through this once in a while, just so everybody's on the same page as to why this has come to the Planning Commission. So, the Horn Lake Code of Ordinances lists specific procedures for reviewing building permits in Chapter 24, Article 3, Section 25-59. And it states that all persons or entities applying for a building permit for the commencement of any work for the erection of any new building or exterior alterations to any existing building in a designated district shall attach to such application for a building permit the full plans and specifications as prepared by a licensed architect or a qualified designer of the type of structure for which the permit is sought, which shall depict the visual appearance of the structure from all sides, and which shall include a site plan, a landscape plan, a graphic depiction of all signs to be located on the property as detailed below. And that just goes through the specific things that we need to see within those plans. Next slide, please. And that continues on, more of those details. Next slide, please. And so this right here is a section which mandates that all plans and specifications as shown there shall be reviewed by the Design Review Commission. And in these cases, the Planning Commission acts as the Design Review Commission. And so that's why site plans have to be looked over by the Planning Commission. Next slide, please. So for Article 3 under Design Review Commission, transfer of duties and authority of Design Review Commission to the Planning Commission, that's where it specifies that all those rights, duties, responsibilities, reviews, approvals, recommendations, and authority of the Design Review Commission are transferred and conveyed to the Planning Commission. Next slide, please. So, moving on to the material for tonight. We have here the general site plan as the overall site plan, just the top-down aerial view. This is the only plan we have received. Now what it's showing is on the south side of the property. They're labeling these buildings as the New West Building and the New East Building. They're building additions, so they are just going to be built onto the existing structure right there. And the building additions are circled in red. Next slide, please. And so here we have the elevations, and it's showing us that the building material is going to be metal panel roof, a metal wall panel, and metal gutter and trim. And going through the ordinance specifically for the industrial zoning district, it does say that a minimum of 20% of the facade facing the public right-of-way shall be glass. However, we made sure to put in the special note where in the ordinance it does say the Planning Commission can waive this requirement if it determines that it fits in with the character of the rest of the area, or if, not following this glass requirement doesn't have any particular negative consequences for the community. So that's just something to keep in mind. Next slide, please. And so here's more of a 3D view of that. This one really helps put it into perspective. That gray building in the center is what's currently there, and then those more beige colored drawings attached to both sides. That's what's going to be added if this is approved. And all parts of the building currently and proposed, it's going to be metal, metal roof, metal panels, metal gutter and trims. It's going to just continue in the same design as before. Next slide, please. And so Article 13, Architectural Standards, Section G, Industrial Zoning Districts. It says industrial properties which are not located within 1,350 feet of the center line of the right-of-way of collector or arterial roads shall meet the following architectural standards. Right here it's saying exterior wall surfaces of all buildings shall be faced with brick, stone, architecturally enhanced precast and cast-in-place panel, architectural concrete in combination with other permitted materials or glass. Accent materials shall be used for cornices, sills, bases, lintels, banding, and decorative accent trims. Accent materials shall consist of materials comparable in grade and quality to the primary exterior materials, and this is where that 20% glass requirement came into play. And then letter D says, any new building shall be constructed so that all exterior sides shall be surfaced equivalent to the front of the building. Next slide, please. Now, I put in here this special clause found at the end of the article, letter K, exceptions. It says the Planning Commission may approve materials and designs that differ from those required within this ordinance, provided the following criteria are achieved. The proposed building maintains the quality and value intended by this section. The proposed building is compatible and in harmony with other structures designed by standards in this section within the district, and the design exceeds the intent of the ordinance. Any building is subject to denial that does not meet the architectural standards as determined by the Planning Commission. That concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Mr. Andrew. Does anyone have any questions for our director? All right, the applicant come up and give their name and address, and then you'll have 3 minutes to make any comments you'd like to make, or we'll ask you questions, whichever.
My name's Stephen Hopkins. I live in Lake Cormorant, 160 Blue Lake Drive. I worked at HLMS Recycling for about going on 4 years. So.
Okay. And do you have any comments about the addition?
No, sir. I mean, if they're...
Okay. Does anybody up there does any of the commissioners have questions?
Are all the buildings gonna match?
Yes, ma'am. We'll match what's existing.
Same color and same?
Correct.
What do you plan to use those two wings for?
So it's going to cover what we currently have a loading dock and a exit loading dock. It's going to cover it, make it safer for the employees, and provide dry storage.
Be neater,
Yes, much neater.
the area much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So that way
That's,
you would put most of the stuff that's out, the trucks and stuff that,
right, and the pictures that from above, that was maybe 2 years ago, or at least a year and a half ago. It's much cleaner now. If you had an aerial view, a lot of that stuff's gone, and we've rearranged, put up a brick wall to make it look a lot better, appealing to the road. So,
I drove down by there the other day and it was much neater.
yes, ma'am. That's my goal as the general manager now, to keep things looking nice and organized. So,
yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
yeah.
Any other questions?
This gonna be starting immediately once all you,
Yes, sir. As soon as Mr. Murphy, as long as everything's good with you guys and the permit goes through, Mr. Murphy's ready to start working.
so you won't need any windows anyway, which,
No, sir. No, there's no windows really necessary. If we need to do something to please the city, that's what we want to do.
that'll be consistent with the rest of the building, pretty much,
Correct.
right?
Right.
All right. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say, I feel like what y'all are doing, it does look so much better than it did. So
Yes.
I think if this is gonna make it look neater and stuff, then what do you need
Definitely.
windows for?
That's
So-
the main goal. That's the main goal.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have a motion, or do we have any other comments?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
All right, go ahead.
Review of case number 2024-004, site plan review for building additions to the existing structure at 6500 East Center Street on land consisting of 7.54 acres under M1 zoning being developed by Murphy and Sons owned by HLMS Recycling Services LLC. The Planning Commission approved the present site plan, also with the exception of the 20% of the facet facing on the public right of way.
I'll second.
Second.
All right, so we have we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
Kirkley, yes. Stokes?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes,
All right, motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, that is our only case that we have, so we'll move on to other business. Comprehensive plan update. So I'll turn this back over to Director Andrew, and he can give us an update on the comprehensive plan.
So we have been speaking to Orion Planning and Development on a weekly basis now, and they're slowly giving us the chapters one by one. We're talking it over with them. We are pushing really hard for them to just turn in one singular PDF so we can review it beginning, middle to end. I know it's dragging along, but it's, this a private company. We can only keep asking and keep asking and keep asking, but that's what we're doing every week. So as soon as we get that in its full form, in the full draft form, we're going to review that internally and then make sure it's in an appropriate form to present to the Planning Commission. So that's where we're at right now. But if y'all have any specific questions, you can feel free to ask about that. But nothing is really set in stone with that yet.
You said you've been getting it in chapters.
Yeah, and we've been requesting the full document, but they're slowly giving it to us. I would say in scattered bits.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, all right. So, does anybody else have any questions for Director?
Do they give you like a ballpark time or anything since we're going into the second quarter?
Yeah, I told them I really want it this Friday, so we've given them many extensions, and we, as far as I know, we don't have any, way for refunds or penalties or anything. It's just they keep saying it's taking them a long time to work on it. So, but I told them I really want to see something on Friday, and
Gotcha.
hopefully by the next Planning Commission meeting, I would really like to have something in time to be able to show y'all, but we're working on it with them. We'll keep bugging them.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else? All right. So, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I just want to, before we adjourn,
Okay.
just ask everybody to keep Mr. Bill Egnor in prayer.
And also Linda McGann, she's pretty sick.
And also Ms. McGann.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn, Chairman.
All right.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any